Family, the hip-hop streets are not just buzzing right now. They are screaming. What we have unfolding is one of those rare situations where celebrity life, label politics, relationship drama, and public perception collide into one explosive mess. Reports are flying that Memphis rapper GloRilla has been arrested, and the reason behind it isn't just your typical tabloid headline. No, because according to multiple whispers in the gossip sphere, Angela Simmons, yes, the Angela Simmons, fashion mogul, reality TV star, and the current girlfriend of none other than Yo Gotti, may have been the very person who tipped off authorities about GloRilla's alleged drug use. And if that's not already enough to set the internet on fire, the whispers get louder when you hear that Yo Gotti himself is reportedly in deep tension over what comes next. This isn't just about one artist in trouble. This could be the spark that lights a label-wide fire inside CMG, a label that's been dominating the charts, the headlines, and the conversation for the last few years. So let's take a breath, because this one is messy from top to bottom, and we need to unpack exactly how it got here and why the next moves could decide whether CMG stays solid or starts to crack. First, let's talk about what allegedly went down the night GloRilla was taken into custody. The reports say it happened late at night in Memphis, not at some big festival or arena show, but at what insiders are calling a private industry gathering. Not a club open to the public, this was an invite-only scene. The type of room where you've got artists, producers, influencers, industry gatekeepers, and everybody assumes that what happens there stays there. But according to several so-called exclusive sources talking to smaller hip-hop blogs, law enforcement arrived after receiving what they described as a credible tip about illegal activity. Not a general complaint, not a noise call, a specific tip that allegedly pointed to drug use happening right there in the room. And here's where it gets eyebrow-raising. Multiple blogs, from Urban Tea Room to Hip Hop Spill Daily, are now claiming that tip came from Angela Simmons herself. Now, for anybody wondering, wait, how does Angela Simmons even end up in the same sentence as GloRilla like this? Let's connect the dots. Angela has been dating Yo Gotti for a while now, and we've all seen their very public romance. The vacations, the birthday gifts, the red carpet appearances, they're not hiding their love. But Yo Gotti isn't just Angela's man. He's also the CEO of CMG, the label that signed GloRilla. And that means Angela, whether she's directly involved in label business or not, has been in the same rooms as GloRilla, rubbing shoulders at events, label celebrations, and maybe even those private after-parties where things get, let's say, looser. So if Angela really did place that call, and again, nothing's confirmed, but the streets are saying it with their chest, it means this wasn't some random fan making a complaint. This would have been a move from inside the circle. And in the hip-hop world, moves from inside the circle hit differently. They cut deeper. Here's where the story starts splitting into two camps. One side of the internet is defending Angela, saying if she saw something dangerous, especially if it was spiraling out of control, she did the right thing by alerting someone. Maybe she wasn't trying to get GloRilla arrested. Maybe she thought it would just be a quiet check-in from authorities, a wake-up call, not a pair of cups. But the other side, oh, they're not having it. They're calling Angela a snitch, saying you never involve the cops in industry business, especially when it comes to your man's artist. That's the kind of move that can turn you into an enemy overnight. On Twitter, people are calling her Officer Simmons, making memes of her in a police hat, and even dragging Yo Gotti into it, saying, if my girl called the cops on my artist, she wouldn't be my girl no more. The shade is brutal, but so is the fact that in this business, reputation is everything. And right now, the perception is spiraling fast. Now let's shift to GloRilla herself. Glo has been on an unstoppable run for the past couple of years. Breakout singles, high-profile collabs, festival appearances, and that undeniable Memphis energy that's made her one of the most refreshing voices in hip-hop right now. But with that rise has come a spotlight that doesn't just shine on your music. It follows you everywhere, including your personal life. If these arrest rumors are true, and if the charges involve possession or use of illegal substances, the impact could go way beyond one night in jail. It could mean probation, mandatory rehab, a temporary halt to performances, and, maybe most damaging in the short term, a hesitation from sponsors and collaborators who don't want their brands tied to controversy. Glo's fanbase is loyal, but even they've been split online, with some defending her and others quietly asking if this is the beginning of a dangerous pattern. And if the Angela Simmons connection sticks in the public's mind, it's not just a legal problem, it's a trust problem. That kind of fracture can make industry relationships crumble. And then there's Yo Gotti. This man is sitting in the middle of what might be one of the messiest conflicts of his career. And that's saying something for someone who's been in the rap game this long. On one side, he has Angela Simmons, the woman he's been proudly showing off as his partner, the woman he's flown across the world with, the woman who's been by his side at every major event lately. On the other side, he's got GloRilla, a breakout artist whose success reflects directly back on him and his label. If the rumors are true and Angela made that call, Gotti's loyalty is being tested on two fronts, personal and professional. According to one insider speaking to the hip-hop plug, Gotti has been making calls since the news broke, trying to get the full story before making any moves. The insider claimed, Gotti's biggest fear is losing Glo. She's too important to CMG right now, and if she feels betrayed, she could walk. And if she walks, she's taking a piece of the label's momentum with her. However, according to multiple anonymous insiders, GloRilla's alleged statement to Angela Simmons wasn't casual banter. It was deliberate, pointed, and undeniably threatening. Sources describe a tense encounter where emotions ran high, voices were raised, and GloRilla allegedly made it clear that Angela would face consequences upon her release from prison. While the exact circumstances of Angela's legal situation have not been fully confirmed, it's widely reported that she is dealing with recent legal challenges that have put her temporarily out of the public eye. The timing of GloRilla's statement, coinciding with Angela's incarceration, is what's fueling speculation that this wasn't just idle chatter, but a calculated warning meant to intimidate and assert dominance. And in hip-hop culture, where reputation, respect, and street credibility are everything, a statement like this is not taken lightly. It sends a signal to both fans and industry insiders that boundaries have been crossed and that someone is willing to defend their position at any cost. But what makes this situation even more complex is the role of Yo Gotti. Angela Simmons is not just a celebrity. She's also the partner of one of Memphis' most influential figures in hip-hop. Yo Gotti's label, CMG, has been instrumental in GloRilla's rise, providing her with a platform to reach national audiences. So now we have a scenario where his artist and his partner are reportedly in direct conflict, and the stakes could not be higher. Insiders suggest that Yo Gotti is in a precarious position, needing to balance loyalty to his artist with protection of his partner. Any misstep could damage relationships, reputations, and even financial interests. And in an industry where perception is often as important as talent, the optics of this tension are potentially explosive. Fans and industry watchers are already speculating about who will make the first public move, whether it'll be a social media post, an interview, or worse, a direct confrontation. Social media, of course, has already exploded. Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok are flooded with posts dissecting every interaction between Angela Simmons and GloRilla. Memes, reaction videos, and speculation threads are spreading like wildfire, with fans analyzing old footage, pictures, and even Instagram story posts for signs of tension. On TikTok, creators are reenacting the alleged confrontation, while Instagram gossip pages are posting screenshots of cryptic comments and interactions that some interpret as veiled threats. On Twitter, hashtags like #GloRillaVzangela and #HipHopDrama are trending, fueling endless debate about whether this feud is real or orchestrated for publicity. And while some fans dismiss it as exaggerated gossip, those close to the Memphis scene are reportedly taking the situation seriously, warning that such conflicts can quickly escalate beyond social media and into real-life consequences. Now let's talk about the potential legal ramifications. If the alleged threat from GloRilla was documented, whether via text messages, recordings, or witness testimony, it could be considered harassment or intimidation. That opens up the possibility of restraining orders, police involvement, or even criminal charges. While GloRilla's team would likely argue that any statements were made in the heat of the moment or taken out of context, the legal implications cannot be ignored. In addition, Angela's situation, compounded by her current legal challenges, could become even more complicated if authorities view these alleged threats as credible. And beyond the courtroom, the industry consequences are significant. Artists, sponsors, and collaborators all pay attention to these dynamics, and being associated with potential conflict or violence can jeopardize careers. But beyond legalities, there's the human element. If these rumors are true, the psychological toll on both women could be significant. Angela Simmons, already navigating public scrutiny and legal troubles, now faces an alleged personal threat from a fellow celebrity. For GloRilla, The act of issuing such a statement reflects intense emotions, possibly anger, frustration, or a need to assert dominance within the industry and her social circles. The interplay of fame, ego, and personal grievance can create a pressure cooker environment, and when social media amplifies every detail, the stakes feel even higher. And with fans, paparazzi, and industry insiders all watching, any misstep could escalate tensions further, creating a scenario where speculation, rumor, and reality collide in unpredictable ways. Adding to the complexity is the potential role of third parties. Yo Gotti, as the common connection between Angela Simmons and GloRilla, may find himself mediating or managing the fallout. Other artists, friends, and associates could also become involved, either as peacemakers or provocateurs. Industry insiders suggest that tensions like this rarely remain confined to two individuals. The ripple effect can involve multiple parties, from label executives to collaborators, and even fans who take sides. This kind of network drama can transform a private dispute into a public spectacle that dominates headlines, social media feeds, and water cooler conversations for weeks or even months. And let's not underestimate the power of perception. In today's entertainment landscape, how a story is framed often matters more than the truth itself. Social media users, gossip accounts, and meme creators can take an incident, exaggerate it, and present it as fact, shaping public opinion before the parties involved even have a chance to respond. The alleged warning from GloRilla is now part of that narrative, whether it happened exactly as reported or not. Fans are already debating who is in the right, who is in the wrong, and what might happen next, fueling engagement and keeping the story alive. In the modern entertainment ecosystem, controversy drives attention, and attention often translates into career momentum or setbacks depending on how it's handled. And let's not forget, CMG isn't just GloRilla. It's Moneybagg Yo, 42 Dugg, ESTG, and more. If they start to feel like the label's leadership can't protect them from internal drama, or worse, that people close to Gotti could bring the cops into their business, that's the kind of crack that can grow into a full-blown fracture. Label unity isn't just a nice concept in hip-hop, it's survival. Artists want to know that camp they're in has their back, no matter what. And right now, at least publicly, that's not the feeling floating around the CMG name. Social media has turned this into a circus in record time. On Instagram, gossip pages have been reposting blurry videos allegedly showing Glo at the event just hours before the arrest, laughing with friends, completely unaware that the night was about to flip upside down. On Twitter, threads are dissecting every past interaction between Angela and Glo, looking for signs of tension. And YouTube comment sections are already filling with conspiracy theories, some saying Angela was jealous of Glo's growing fame, others claiming it was about protecting Yo Gotti's image, and a few wild takes that maybe this was some kind of industry test to check Glo's behavior. You know how the internet works. Give them one breadcrumb and they'll bake you a whole loaf. So where does this leave us? If Angela owns this publicly and says, "Yes, I called, and here's why," she risks being labeled forever as someone who brought law enforcement into hip-hop business, a label that does not wash off easily. If she denies it, but the belief sticks, she still carries the weight of the rumor. For GloRilla, the immediate focus will be on clearing or handling whatever charges she's facing, but the long-term battle might be rebuilding trust inside her own camp. And for Yo Gotti, the next moves are crucial. Does he stand firmly by Angela and risk losing Glo? Does he side with Glo and strain his relationship? Or does he try to play mediator and hope that the public eventually loses interest? This isn't just about who's right or wrong. It's about survival in an industry where public opinion can be as dangerous as any legal charge. And here's my real question for you, family. If you were in Angela's shoes and you saw what she allegedly saw, would you make that call? Or would you keep it in-house, knowing the damage it could do? And if you were Yo Gotti, would you risk the strength of your label to protect your relationship? Or risk your relationship to protect your label? Because no matter how you slice it, somebody in this triangle is going to feel betrayed before this is over. And something tells me we're only at the beginning of this storm.